Welcome to the PayTrace Basic training tutorial. This video is designed to show you the functionality available within your account as shown per the example below. Once you log into your account, you'll be taken to your home page where you see your control panel on the left-hand side. The home page has several quick links on it that allow you to access the page you are trying to visit within a mouse click. Passwords for PayTrace must be updated every 90 days, and the top section of your home page shows you when your password is set to expire with a link to reset it. The first menu we're going to take a look at from the control panel is the user management menu, which allows us to create and manage other users to gain access to our account. The create user profile page will allow us to create up to a total of 3 user profiles. From this page we can type in our user's contact information, assign them a username and password, as well as assign a sales ceiling and a refund ceiling to control the largest sale and refund this user can process. Below that, we're able to specify the user's permission. Every box that is checked allows that user to access that menu or perform that function within your PayTrace account. Once all the information has been provided about the user and our permissions selected, we can go ahead and create the user. After users are created, we can manage them from the Modify User Profile option. This page will allow you to manage all the information associated with the user profile as well as their permissions. There is a drop-down menu at the top of the page that allows us to select which user profile we want to look at. Once we select them, their information will be shown to us. From here, we can change or alter any information about this user profile as well as add or take away any permissions. If any changes are made, we would want to scroll down to the bottom and click on the Update User Account button to save our changes. There is also an option to delete the user account in the bottom right-hand corner. This will delete the user account so that the username and password no longer work to gain access to your account. You can change your validation image for the user that you are currently logged in as by visiting the validation image option under your user management menu. You will be able to update the validation image from here. You can also track any unsuccessful login attempts to your account, as well as view any upcoming expiring passwords for any users on your account. The last option under the user management menu is the email addresses page. This page controls what emails are getting what notifications from PayTrace. The administrative and optional email addresses are going to receive all notifications from PayTrace. Please note the administrative email address will be the email address listed at the bottom of your shopping cart if you're using this feature. From this page, you'll be able to add or remove or change any email address on your account. Be sure to click the Manage Email Addresses button at the bottom to save your changes or to add your email address. The next menu we're going to take a look at is the very first menu, which is the Virtual Terminal menu. This menu acts like our credit card machine. It allows us to perform all the same functions that a credit card machine can. The first option is Swipe a Transaction, and we'll want to use this option if we are swiping any cards through an electronic device into your computer. When this page loads, the cursor should automatically start blinking in the credit card field. At this point, we want to swipe the card, as shown below, and the page should read the information and then automatically update to the next page, which allows us to enter a dollar amount. A swipe transaction only needs a dollar amount and it can process. All the below information is optional, however, it can be typed in for reconciliation purposes. Once we have our amount, we can scroll down to the bottom and click to process the transaction. Once the transaction processes, the page will come back and tell us if our transaction was approved or not approved. From here, we'll have access to view a transaction receipt, which if we click it, will show us the live copy of the transaction receipt and will allow us to print or email the receipt. Or we can simply check the boxes with the emails listed and then click the Submit button to submit the receipt to the email specified. If you forget to access your receipt to email or print out, you can always access your receipts from the View Transactions page of the Virtual Terminal menu, which we'll take a look at here in just a bit. The next option we want to take a look at is the Process a Transaction page. This page will allow us to key enter transaction information as opposed to swiping the transaction information. From here, we can go ahead and key enter all the credit card, billing, and shipping information that we want to provide for our customer. Towards the top of the page, there's a drop-down menu that allows us to select what type of transaction we want to run. There are several options listed, such as a sale, an authorization, refund, for sale, store and forward, and a cash or a check transaction. If you are not sure what these transaction types are, please be sure to visit our support forum located at paytrace.net. Please visit the glossary of credit card terms to be able to find out what these transaction types mean. After we have provided all of our customers' information, we can go ahead and scroll to the bottom of the page and click to process the credit card transaction. It will only take a few seconds for the transaction to process, and then we'll be taken to a page that tells us whether or not our transaction was approved. From here, we'll have access to view the receipt, as well as be able to print it out and send emails to all the applicable email addresses set up to receive them. Once our transaction approves, we do have a certain amount of time that we are able to void or cancel this transaction before it's funded for. From the Void a Transaction page of your virtual terminal, you'll be able to attempt to cancel out the transaction. Normally, you can only void a transaction before it has been settled and funded for. Once we visit the page, we'll want to click Search to show us all the transactions we have ran today. Once the transactions are shown to us, all we need to do is select the transaction or transactions that we need to void by checking their box on the left-hand side. Then we'll click the Process Voids button down at the bottom of the page, and it'll void out the transactions we have selected. We can refund transactions that have already been processed and settled and funded for within the system very quickly from the Refunded Transaction page. The logic is the same as voiding a transaction, however, we'll have to set our date range back to a previous date where we actually have ran and settled transactions. Once we perform our search, our transactions will be shown to us. Instead of seeing a void checkbox, we now see a refund checkbox. We will want to check any transaction that we wish to have refunded. The dollar amount is in a text box, and we are able to put our cursor in there and manipulate the dollar amount. This is helpful when issuing a partial refund or an amount that is not equal to the original transaction amount. After we process any transaction, we can access that transaction history by visiting the View Transactions page. From this page, we will be able to search for up to 2 years' worth of transaction history. There are options to narrow down and define our search if we want to be more specific. At the bottom of the page, we would set our date range and then click the Search button to execute the search. Once the search is performed, the results will post in a display box below the search button. From here, we'll have access to almost all of our transaction detailed information, as well as on the far left-hand and right-hand sides, we'll have links for the transaction receipts. At the top of the display box, we will have options to view the results in its own web page, or to download the transaction information into a spreadsheet. You can access your batch report history by visiting the View Batch Reports option, which is below the View Transactions button. From here, you'll be able to search for any batch report within the last 2 years on your account. You can search either by date range, or you can select the batch number that you're wishing to retrieve. Once the batch report pulls up, you'll be able to see its contents, as well as re-email it, and be able to download its detailed results into a spreadsheet. There are other options under the Virtual Terminal menu for Store and Forward and for capturing transactions. These pages will only need to be accessed if running the applicable types of transactions. The Store and Forwards page allows you to manage transactions you have set up to process in the future, and the Capture a Transaction page will allow you to capture any outstanding authorizations on your account.